Can you believe that just a few kilometers from the bustling heart of Jakarta, Indonesia, there exists a place where humans must eat trash to survive, and women are forced to defecate in public? This is not a dystopian sci-fi scene. This is reality, happening every single day at Bantar Gebang, the largest landfill in Southeast Asia. Imagine a colossal mountain, not of stone or snow, but of waste. It swells with every sunrise, like a monster devouring rice fields and exhaling toxic fumes into the sky. Within this sea of waste, thousands of scavengers have built fragile shelters, raising their children, surviving only on what the modern world discards. They turn garbage into a bed, into dinner, even into childhood itself, as children learn to sort plastic before they ever learn to read. This is an invisible city within a city, where poverty, despair, and fragile hope intertwine. Today, Fascinating Discoveries takes you inside this world, not just to witness tragedy, but to understand why this place has become a mirror reflecting both inequality and environmental pollution on a global scale. And once the journey begins, you won't be able to look away. Number 1. Landfill of Jakarta. Can you imagine a city the size of 200 football fields, but instead of houses and streets, it is made entirely of waste? A colossal mountain, not built from stone or earth, but from everything humanity has thrown away, rising higher each day like a beast expanding with the restless breath of Jakarta, Indonesia. This is Bantar Gebang, the largest landfill in Southeast Asia, opened in 1989, once fertile rice fields, now transformed into an endless ocean of garbage. Every single day, between 6,500 and 7,500 tons of waste thunder in on trucks from Jakarta and its neighboring cities. Picture it. 1 million bags of trash cascading like a waterfall, spreading across 110 hectares of land, equal to 200 football pitches, stitched together in decay. From above, it resembles a monstrous patchwork quilt, a distorted map sewn together with plastic, paper, broken cloth, and the bones of consumer society. Yet behind this overwhelming image lies a brutal truth. Bantar Gebang is not merely a dumping ground, it has become an underground city within the city itself, where people build shacks, scavenge for food, and live and die with the waste. It stands as undeniable evidence of a failed waste management system and a haunting metaphor for the reckless speed of urbanization. As cities expand, their shadows grow with them. So the question remains, when a landfill transforms into a city, is it still just waste? Or is it the testimony of an entire society's helplessness? And our journey has only just begun, as darker truths still await beyond this first glimpse. Number 2. Scavengers of survival. When trash becomes something others discard, but also the very thing that allows another to survive, you begin to grasp the cruel paradox of life here. In the suffocating sprawl of Bantar Gebang, between 6,000 and 20,000 souls bear the title of scavenger. They do not work in factories, nor do they hold contracts. Their only tools are bare hands and a sack slung over the shoulder. Each day, they dig through mountains of refuse, pulling out plastic bottles, strands of copper wire, and aluminum cans, selling them to middlemen for a handful of rupiah, barely enough for a hot meal in Jakarta, Indonesia. Yet from this seemingly meaningless labor emerges a vast shadow economy. What the consumer society labels as worthless waste becomes, in their eyes, survival itself. A treasure hidden within decay. A middle-aged man, his eyes hollow yet sharp, says, "I can distinguish plastic by color faster than I can read words." In that simple confession lies an entire tragedy. Children here grow up learning how to sort garbage long before they ever learn to spell their own names. This image lays bare a disturbing reality. It is the poorest who carry the burden of primitive recycling, a responsibility the wealthy world ignores. And perhaps it is these very scavengers who silently prevent the city from drowning under its own waste. But the story of those who survive on garbage is only the beginning. For deeper within this mountain, we encounter lives even more harrowing, where women and children face daily dangers that go far beyond the stench of decay. Number 3. Slum life on trash. When your home is built from what others have thrown away, you begin to understand what it means to live in complete fragility. In Bantar Gebang, amid the suffocating stench of waste and clouds of dust, people erect makeshift shelters out of rotting wood, torn plastic tarps, and faded billboards once displayed in the bustling heart of Jakarta, Indonesia. This is not architecture. It is survival stitched together piece by piece. No electricity, no clean water, no sanitation, only darkness, stench, and a constant sense of danger. And yet, within this desolation, a quiet language emerges. The language of creativity born from desperation. A ripped advertising banner becomes a shield against the wind. A broken sofa transforms into seating for a makeshift tea stall, and scraps of timber become a study table for children. These homes are more than shelters. They are monuments of resilience, proof that humans can cling to anything as long as there is a chance to endure. But endurance is not the same as living. Behind each patched-up wall lies a chain of forgotten days. Children growing up in filth, mothers gripped by fear as night falls, and fathers battling silent despair. This is no longer mere poverty. It is a vivid symbol of a parallel world, where garbage becomes walls, where darkness becomes a roof, and where hope is as fragile as the tattered tarps above. And as we venture deeper, we will uncover lives even harsher still, where women must bear double the suffering in this hell of waste. Number 4. Women's burden. If life here is already hell for men, for women, it is twice as cruel. In Bantar Gebang, women make up nearly 40% of the scavenger population. Mothers, wives, young girls carrying the heavy burden of survival on this mountain of waste. With no toilets, they sneak behind towering piles of garbage, shielding themselves with torn sheets of plastic or scraps of cardboard. During menstruation, they are forced to use dirty rags picked from the trash, soaked with the risk of infection. For them, bathing is a luxury. A single bucket of water, if found, must serve an entire family for cooking, washing, and cleaning. As night falls, darkness does not bring rest, but fear. With no electricity, no lights, only flickering old flashlights, women walk back to their shacks trembling, haunted by the threat of strange hands and predatory eyes. There is no police presence, no law, only the suffocating silence of damp air pressing down on everything. And yet, the next morning, they rise again, strapping babies to their backs, digging through trash with bare hands, searching for bits of plastic, aluminum, and copper wire to exchange for rice and formula. This is the starkest image of gender inequality, where a woman's body is exposed among garbage, where dignity is tested every single day. But within their weary steps and hardened gazes lies a resilience that cuts deep. Proof that even in the inferno of trash, life refuses to surrender. And our journey now leads us to an even darker truth. When food itself runs out, people are forced to eat what others throw away, just to stay alive. Number 5. Eating from trash. When eating trash is no longer an insult but a daily reality, you begin to see how far human survival can be pushed into despair. In Bantar Gebang, many families start their mornings not with breakfast, but with a search through the fresh piles of waste just unloaded by garbage trucks. They are not only looking for plastic or metal, but for leftover food discarded by restaurants, supermarkets, and hotels. Spoiled rice, chicken bones with bits of meat still clinging, fish already turning sour, all are collected, rinsed quickly in dirty water, then boiled again over a wood fire. Locals even have a name for it: nasi sisa, leftover rice. Inside the patchwork shelters, you might see a mother crouched by a smoky fire, picking wilted vegetables, rinsing them a few times, then tossing them into a pot with stale rice. Around her, children wait with hungry eyes, whispering to ask what they might eat today. This is perhaps the most haunting picture. While the outside world wastes millions of tons of food daily, here, thousands survive by eating from trash. It is not a choice, because hunger allows no alternatives. Yet the darker truth is that many have grown so accustomed to this that it has become normal, even a kind of occupation in the endless cycle of survival. And from this image arises a chilling question. In a world overflowing with abundance, why must these people dig through rotting scraps just to stay alive? Is this merely a paradox, or is it a shared guilt we all bear? And as our journey moves forward, we will witness how the weakest, the children, grow up with the smell of garbage and meals salvaged from decay. Perhaps now is the moment to pause, to breathe, to look more deeply at what we have just witnessed. The first 5 discoveries painted a picture both overwhelming and haunting. A colossal mountain of trash, scavengers surviving in the shadows, shelters built from scraps, women bearing a double burden, and meals salvaged from what others discard. Together they weave a parallel world, one of poverty yet resilience, filth yet flickers of life. Behind these strange and unsettling images lie questions that belong to all of humanity. Who are we in this endless cycle of consumption? Why have we built a towering civilization, yet left thousands to survive on garbage? And ultimately, what legacy will we leave for the generations to come? A planet brimming with life, or an Earth suffocated under waste? Imagine, beneath a sky scattered with stars, ancient ruins still stand, silent witnesses to the rise and fall of empires, a reminder that every grandeur eventually crumbles. In the darkness, the flicker of fire from a distant desert ritual seems to whisper, "What is the true value of existence?" This moment is a slowing of the breath, a deepening of the voice, a space for the heart to settle, for eyes still damp from shock to rest, before we move into the stories that grow even deeper, even more harrowing in the path ahead. Number 6. Children in garbage. Childhood here does not begin with books or school lessons, but with the stench of garbage bags. From as young as 5 or 6, children follow their parents across the mountains of Bantar Gebang, their small hands digging into plastic sacks, their eyes scanning for pieces of plastic or aluminum cans to sell for a few rupiah. Many of them have never set foot inside a classroom, for books, uniforms, and school fees are luxuries far beyond reach. Instead of learning to read, they learn to recognize the colors of recyclable plastics, to avoid broken glass and discarded needles hidden in the trash. When hunger gnaws too deeply, some turn to industrial glue, sniffing it hard to forget the emptiness in their stomachs, to escape a reality far too cruel for their age. This is not merely a story of poverty. It is the tragedy of an entire generation growing up trapped in a cycle with no escape. Lost childhood, lost education, lost future. These 3 losses intertwine like invisible chains binding them to a landfill hell. Behind the vacant eyes of a child, we glimpse the reflection of a society that has failed to protect its most fragile seeds of life. Yet, even in this darkness, laughter sometimes breaks through. when a ball made of plastic bottles is kicked around, or when a kite stitched from plastic bags flutters unsteadily in the wind. These fleeting moments remind us that the will to live and the joy of childhood are not yet fully buried. And as we move forward, we will see that this tragedy extends beyond the children themselves. It poisons the land, the water, the air, the very environment that sustains us all. Number 7. Environmental pollution. The landfill does not only kill those who live upon it, it is silently poisoning the entire city. Beneath the towering heaps of waste, methane gas builds up day by day, smoldering like a ticking time bomb that could erupt at any moment. More than once, underground fires have ignited, sending thick plumes of black smoke rolling across nearby neighborhoods, choking the air like the fumes of a steel furnace. Yet danger does not come only from above. It seeps downward as well. Black lichat seeps through the layers of trash, flowing into rivers, staining the water and contaminating wells relied upon by surrounding communities. A sour stench, a bitter taste in every sip of water has become a daily nightmare. Children develop respiratory diseases. The elderly suffer from chronic coughs, pneumonia, stomach pain, and patchy skin rashes. This is no longer merely a humanitarian crisis. It is an environmental catastrophe, with earth, water, and air infused with toxins. The cost is borne not only by the poor who live within the landfill, but also by the unsuspecting communities nearby, people who have never set foot on the trash mountain, yet must breathe its smoke, drink its tainted water, and battle its illnesses. Can we call this silence negligence, or is it complicity? As waste continues to swell, spreading across fields and rivers, the city can no longer turn away, for it too is being consumed by what it has discarded. And this journey will reveal even more painful truths, where social inequality is etched into every single bag of garbage left behind. Number 8. Unjust system. The rich discard, and the poor must bear the weight. In the heart of Jakarta, luxury apartments, gleaming glass offices, and glittering malls produce tons of waste every single day. Yet, as if by a cruel sleight of hand, all that trash disappears overnight, vanishing from the wealthy's sight, only to reappear as a crushing burden on Bantar Gebang. In this impoverished outskirts, thousands are forced to live, breathe, and raise their children beside the very garbage that the upper classes will never see again. Trash is not just waste. It is a record of inequality, a diary of reckless consumption where only one side pays the cost. Every discarded milk carton, every plastic fashion bag, every platter of untouched food from a banquet becomes labor for a scavenger child, a health hazard for a mother, or a life shortened for a father. At the very end of the consumption chain, when everything is dumped together, these poor souls become the living sorting machines, with no gloves, no protection, only bare hands, and the fragile hope of earning a few rupiah. This is the bitter paradox. While the privileged can discard with ease and forget instantly, the poor must face trash with their bodies, their health, and their years of life. The question lingers: is this negligence or institutionalized indifference? And as we look deeper, we will encounter small yet resilient efforts from within the community, flickers of light standing against an unjust system far larger than themselves. Number 9. Small efforts. Even in the thickest darkness, there remains a flicker of light, fragile yet unyielding, enough to remind us that humanity has never completely surrendered to fate. In the heart of Bantar Gebang's trash inferno, where life and death intertwine daily, one woman chose to return to the very place that haunted her childhood. Her name is Reza Boenard. Born and raised amid the narrow alleys of the garbage mountain, Reza was once a child shunned by classmates, the stench of waste clinging to her clothes, her eyes heavy with shame. But instead of fleeing, she came back, armed with knowledge, courage, and a vision larger than herself. Out of the ashes of waste, she founded the BGBJ Center. Seeds of Bantar Gebang, a makeshift school bursting with life. Here, children once destined only to sort cans and broken plastics now hold pencils for the first time, trace their first letters, listen to stories, and hear their names spoken without the stigma of child of the landfill. Reza went further, partnering with international organizations to transform recycled plastic into building materials, turning what was once discarded into bricks, into roofs, into structures that shield families from sun and rain. This is not just a social project, it is a declaration that even in hell, seeds will reach for the light. But let the images speak louder than words. A classroom rising amidst the smell of decay, laughter ringing among patchwork shelters, and the luminous eyes of children lifted from worn-out notebooks. A fragile flame, yet once seen, impossible to forget. And perhaps these fragile efforts carry within them the answer to a greater question, that humanity, even at its darkest, still knows how to plant hope within the waste of its own making. Number 10. Trash Mountain. A global mirror. Bantar Gebang is not just Jakarta's problem, it is humanity's problem. This landfill is more than a dumping ground. It is a massive mirror reflecting global habits of consumption and neglect. Indonesia, the nation of 1,000 islands, carries a heavy burden. It is the world's second largest plastic polluter, surpassed only by China. Every day, thousands of tons of waste arrive from Jakarta, piling not only into mountains but seeping into the soil, poisoning groundwater, and rising into the air as toxic smoke. And when extreme weather strikes, torrential rains turn the mountain of trash into a deadly swamp. There have been times when entire sections collapsed, burying makeshift shelters and swallowing lives under the very waste they once picked through to survive. This is not merely an environmental disaster. It is an indictment of modern society. We consume recklessly, discard thoughtlessly, and turn away from injustice. Every plastic bag drifting out of a glittering mall in New York, London, or Tokyo may eventually wash up on impoverished shores or join the towering heaps of Bantar Gebang. The problem is no longer Indonesia alone. It is a warning for the world. What legacy do we wish to leave behind? A thriving planet or an Earth entombed in its own refuse? The answer lies in the choices we make each day. And as we leave Bantar Gebang, the image of that trash mountain lingers, an unflinching mirror forcing us to confront ourselves. Bantar Gebang, Trash Mountain, is not merely where garbage is piled high. It is a colossal mirror reflecting society itself. The indifference of the rich, the helplessness of the poor, and the collapse of a system that was never fair. Here, scavengers, women, and children are trapped in a relentless cycle of poverty, pollution, and injustice, like birds with wings still beating, but locked in a cage they cannot escape. And yet, within this suffocating darkness, a light flickers, from people like Reza, small yet unyielding seeds of hope planted in a land buried under waste. But the real question does not belong to Bantar Gebang alone. It belongs to us. Behind every plastic bag you toss away, there may be a child digging for survival. Behind every comfort you enjoy, there may be a life buried in silence. What will you do to create a world with fewer trash mountains and more chances for those forgotten lives? Let these images be more than haunting memories. Let them spark action. If today's journey stirred something in you, share this video so more eyes may witness the truth. Leave a comment, because your thoughts too can be seeds of change. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Fascinating Discoveries, so we may continue this journey together, unveiling the hidden stories of our world.